There are moments in sports when everything stops mattering: the rankings, the sponsorships, the expectations. Everything distills into a single heartbeat. Charlie Woods stands on the 18th tee. 18 holes of calculated decisions, perfect ironwork, and the kind of patience that separates champions from contenders. His scorecard reads differently than it did 6 holes ago. Something shifted. Something dangerous. And across the fairway, Miles Russell is watching. Miles Russell, who hasn't played like he's thinking, who's played like he's hunting. The wind carries silence across the course. 5,000 people understand what's happening without a word being spoken. This isn't about the tournament. This is about what these two young men discover about themselves when it's just them and the pin. When the margin between legacy and regret narrows to a single shot. Charlie's hands sit still. His face doesn't move. But his mind is moving through every variable, every possibility where this ends, and he has to live with the result. Miles is the same. Both of them have trained their entire lives for this moment, but training and reality collapse into something entirely different when the moment actually arrives. This is the story of a final hole that nobody expected, from two competitors who might have been equals before 6 p.m., but would be something entirely different after the sun set. If you ever wonder how champions are made, not by victories, but by how they respond when everything is on the line, stay with us. The channel exists because moments like these teach us something about ourselves. Whatever you're chasing, you'll see pieces of your own pressure here. Charlie Woods was 6 shots behind with 8 holes to play. That's not a deficit that disappears. That's not even a deficit you can speak back into the tournament without an incredible run. But this is Charlie Woods. And incredible runs have a habit of being his particular language. Birdie at the 11th. The crowd felt something shift. Not hope yet. Awareness. The kind of awareness that happens when a player walks to the next tee with the posture of someone who's made a decision internally. Miles Russell watched it unfold from 2 groups ahead. Not worried yet. Professional golfers don't get worried 3 holes into anyone's run. But by the 14th, Miles couldn't ignore it anymore. Charlie had made 5 birdies in 7 holes. 5. The gap that was 6 shots had become 2. And this isn't the kind of math that Miles Russell is comfortable with. Not because he's weak under pressure, he's built a reputation on thriving in exactly these conditions. But because he understands pressure differently now. He understands that it's about to shift its weight entirely onto his shoulders. The 16th hole, Charlie makes another birdie. Now it's 1 shot. The entire shape of the tournament transforms in less than an hour. 4,000 people are following behind them on the course. A 5,000 are watching on screens, refreshing their phones, watching the scoreboard update in real time. Professional golfers describe this sensation as the crowd entering your head. Miles would describe it as feeling the expectations of everyone you've ever met consolidating into a single moment at the 17th tee. Charlie walks to the 17th with the momentum of a man who's decided something. This matters to him in a way that's completely different than how it mattered 5 holes ago. You can see it in his stride. You can see it in how he doesn't move his eyes toward the grandstand. Players who are feeling pressure scan the crowd. Players who've locked into something deeper just look at the course in front of them. What happens next is something that stays with athletes forever, not as a victory or defeat, but as a personal truth. Miles makes a mistake. Not a catastrophic mistake. Just a shot 3 feet farther back than it should be. That's all. Just the smallest separation of where the ball landed and where it should have landed. In golf, that's everything. Think about pressure moments in your own life. Not in golf. In your actual life. In that moment when you're aware that something you've trained for, prepared for, finally has weight attached to it, when the preparation meets the reality where it actually matters. Have you ever felt what happens to your body when that switch is on? By the 16th tee, Charlie Woods' lead has materialized from nothing. This is important because it's not just about the shots anymore. It's about the narrative. Miles Russell has started to lose the story of the tournament. And that's what breaks people, not losing the tournament, but losing the story they were telling themselves about who they are in moments when it matters most. Charlie understands this. On some level that might exist below conscious thought, he understands that Miles Russell is now in the position of having to catch up not just in strokes, but in momentum. Momentum in golf is almost metaphysical. It's almost a fourth dimension that exists alongside fairways and greens. A player with momentum isn't just hitting better shots. They're seeing the course differently. Their brain is processing pressure as information rather than as an enemy. The 16th is a par 4. Not especially long. Not especially difficult on a normal day. But on this particular afternoon, when Miles Russell steps up to the tee box, nothing about this day is normal anymore. He feels the pressure now. It's changed his breathing. You can see it in how his shoulders angle toward the tee box. You can see it in how long he takes to address the ball. This is when we learn something about competitors that training facilities can't teach. We learn about their honesty. Miles Russell has a choice in this moment. He can acknowledge the pressure and work within it, or he can try to deny it exists and let it poison every decision he makes for the next 4 hours. He steps into the ball. The shot he hits is a 4-iron, slightly left to right, landing approximately at the 160-yard mark. From that position, Miles has a smooth 8-iron into the green. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that suggests he's falling apart. He's still controlling the narrative. But Charlie Woods hits a driver 280 yards, lands perfectly in the fairway at 185 yards. And the expression on Charlie's face doesn't change. That's the thing that matters. That's the thing that makes elite athletes different, the ability to receive information, process it, and continue operating without emotion overtaking strategy. Miles hits his approach shot to 14 feet. Charlie hits his to 8 feet. The crowd breathes. Pressure is a living thing on a golf course when the galleries get this large. It breathes with the players. It exhales with them. It waits. Charlie makes his putt. Miles doesn't. That's where the story settles in its current form. Charlie is now in control of something much bigger than his scorecard. He's in control of whether Miles believes he can still win. Here's where I want to know what you think. Do you believe that professional golfers, that any elite athlete truly believes they can recover from this position? Or does some part of them accept, right at this moment, that the tournament has already been lost and they're now just going through the mechanism of finishing it? I've read interviews where players claim they never stop believing. But I've also read the body language of players in the final hour when something has shifted irrevocably. What's your experience? The 17th hole is where everything becomes visible that was previously invisible. This is a par 3. 210 yards. The kind of hole that separates golfers who understand their own game from golfers who are hoping. Hoping is what you do when pressure has infiltrated too deep into your decision-making process. Hoping is what players do when they've stopped trusting themselves. Miles Russell stands on the 17th tee, and for the first time in the entire tournament, we see something fracture in his composure. It's small. It's just a pause before he addresses the ball. Just a hesitation that suggests his mind is somewhere other than on the line he needs to hit. That's all it takes. One hesitation. One moment where internal doubt becomes visible enough for the crowd to sense it. He hits his tee shot. It's not a bad shot. It's maybe 5 yards right of where it should be. Just slightly offline. In golf, slightly offline is still playable, still recoverable. But Miles walks toward the green with the posture of someone who's made a bigger mistake than the ball's location suggests. Charlie hits next. Perfect 6-iron. Perfect trajectory. Perfect distance. It lands 8 feet from the pin. The gallery understands what they're watching now. This is no longer a competition. This is a coronation in real time. When Miles reaches his ball, he's looking at a 15-footer for birdie. Exactly the kind of putt that should bring him back. Exactly the kind of moment where professional golfers demonstrate why they're professional. But pressure doesn't care about should. Pressure cares about what is. Miles addresses the ball. the entire course goes silent. This is the silence that exists when thousands of people understand they're about to see something settle. Not the tournament. Something bigger. Something about who Miles Russell is when everything he's built is being questioned in front of him. He takes his stroke. The ball travels at the correct speed. The line is correct. But the read was slightly off, just enough that the ball catches the edge of the cup and rolls past. A miss. A putt he hits in practice rounds 40 times. 40 times and makes it plenty. But on the 17th hole, with everything visible, with the gallery holding its breath, he misses. This is the moment. This is the moment where Miles Russell looks at himself in the mirror that the tournament has become. He misses the putt. And more importantly, you can see the exact instant that he realizes he's missed more than just a putt. He's missed the moment where he could have kept himself in the tournament. That moment has passed. And it's not coming back. Charlie makes his birdie. The lead expands to 2 shots. 1 hole remains. This is the moment where I need to say something that matters. This documentary exists because athletes at this level teach us about ourselves. They teach us about what pressure does to people. And they teach us that the difference between champions and everyone else isn't talent. Talent gets you to the 18th tee. What separates them is what happens internally when the tournament is deciding itself in real time. If this kind of psychology of competition is what draws you, if you find yourself thinking about what happens inside a person when they're facing moments like this, if you want more of this, please, the support means the channel can continue finding these stories. The 18th hole is 520 yards. A par 5. The kind of hole that's designed as an epilogue. A hole where a player with a 2-shot lead should be able to finish cleanly, should be able to play conservative golf and accumulate their victory without drama. Charlie Woods doesn't play it conservatively. That's important. That tells you something about what he understands about this moment. He understands that Miles Russell's state of mind has shifted to something dangerous. A player who's lost the tournament but hasn't lost the day yet is a player who can do something reckless. And recklessness in golf is its own form of power. So Charlie plays his A game on 18. He hits a driver down the center of the fairway. 280 yards. Exactly where he wants it. From there, he has a forward second shot. He hits it clean. The ball soars toward the green and lands softly, rolling to 30 feet. Conservative, controlled, confident. Miles Russell walks to the 18th tee, and this is where we see the choice. This is where internal pressure becomes external action. Miles steps up, and there's no hesitation now. No doubt. Just a player who's decided that if he's going to lose this tournament, he's going to lose it with velocity. He absolutely crushes the driver. It's a statement. The ball travels 285 yards and settles in the fairway. The gallery murmurs. There's life in this yet. The tournament isn't over until the last putt is made, and Miles Russell is now playing like someone who understands this is his last chance to reshape the narrative of this day. From there, Miles hits a 5-wood into the green. It's a different shot than Charlie's. Slightly longer, slightly more aggression. The ball lands and rolls to 40 feet. Just beyond Charlie's position. Not ideal, but not devastating. What happens next is what defines this entire final hole. Charlie walks to his position 30 feet from the pin. His first putt is a lag putt designed to get close, not necessarily to make it. Professional golfers, when they're protecting a lead with 1 hole remaining, don't attack. They manage. But Charlie, walking to this putt, seems to understand something that Miles doesn't yet. He seems to understand that Miles Russell has given him the ultimate gift. He's given him the chance to watch what happens when pressure finally breaks someone. Charlie's first putt rolls to 4 feet. Makeable distance. Now Miles is on. Miles hits his first putt from 40 feet. It travels toward the hole, and the crowd leans forward. The putt has pace. The putt has line. The putt has everything except the one thing that matters: it rolls past the hole by 18 inches. Another miss. Another moment where Miles Russell has to stand and watch the tournament drift further away. Charlie makes his 4-footer. 2 shots up. 1 putt remains in Miles's tournament. Miles marks his ball. This is the putt for par. The putt that determines whether he finishes the day with dignity or whether he finishes it as a cautionary tale. He stands over the ball for what feels like an extended time. Internal processing. Internal reckoning. He strokes the putt. And here's what's important, he strokes it well. The ball travels true. The line is correct. And it drops. 1 putt. Miles made his final putt. Charlie taps in his short putt. The tournament is finished. But something happened in these 18 holes that transcends the scoreboard. Charlie Woods didn't just beat Miles Russell. Charlie Woods beat Miles Russell by staying composed while Miles Russell's composure fractured. Charlie Woods won by managing pressure like it was another club in his bag. And Miles Russell discovered something about himself that no practice round could have revealed: what happens when pressure becomes too heavy to carry. This channel exists for this exact reason. Not to celebrate victories, but to understand the human beings inside the athletes. To understand what pressure teaches us about ourselves. To understand that champions aren't made by talent alone, they're made by how they respond when everything is on the line. If you want more of this, if you want to understand the psychology of people facing moments that define them, please subscribe. Because these moments are everywhere if you know where to look. And they teach us everything about what we're capable of when pressure becomes our final test. Thank you for watching. The stories continue.